The signal came from nowhere. It wasn't a transmission as the Galactic Council understood it. No beacon, no signature, no coordinates. It simply appeared in the void between stars, pulsing with a rhythm that every scanner recognized yet could not decode. For days, it echoed across 1,000 systems, each attempt to decipher it failing as machines burned and minds cracked under its resonance. Then silence followed, and that silence terrified the galaxy. 1,000,000 years of recorded galactic history had never seen something like this. The Council sent its best fleets to investigate, deploying sensors, drones, and science vessels along the outer rim where the distortion was strongest. All they found was emptiness until the void itself rippled. From the cold nothingness beyond charted space, shapes began to emerge. Dark, massive, ancient, hulls scarred yet perfect, sleek yet weathered by impossible time. One by one, they slipped through the dimensional haze, colossal ships forged in a style no species could identify. There were thousands of them, each one large enough to eclipse moons. Their configuration was disciplined, military, purposeful, but there was no life signal. No power fluctuation, only stillness. The Council's fleets watched in silent awe. The lead vessel, a vast carrier whose hull shimmered with golden patterns, floated toward them, its silhouette dwarfing everything nearby. The admiral of the Council Task Force, a veteran of 3 interstellar wars, ordered a cautious hail. No reply. Their scanners probed the structure, but readings collapsed upon contact. Every attempt to scan resulted in feedback loops that fried instruments. One science officer whispered that the ships weren't made of any known element, that their existence violated causality. Then came a faint whisper through the static, a human voice. "We are home." The phrase repeated once, and then all power across the sector flickered. Gravity wavered, and for a moment even the fabric of space seemed to hesitate. The fleet had awakened. Within the Council chambers, panic reigned. The word human had not been uttered in living memory. The species was a myth buried in the oldest archives, dismissed as legend. Some scholars had claimed that humans once existed, long before the Council's formation, long before any known civilization had reached the stars. Others laughed it off, calling it superstition. Now no one was laughing. Reports flooded in. The ancient human fleet was moving, slowly, deliberately, like giants stirring from slumber. A single message followed, broadcast across every known frequency. "This is the Terran Ascendancy Fleet. Expedition Omega. Year of departure 42,013. Mission status, returning from beyond." The Council's historians trembled. By their reckoning, that departure date was over 1,000,000 years ago. No species, no empire, no technology should have lasted that long. The fleet didn't attack, nor did it respond to diplomacy. It simply began to spread, deploying smaller vessels that glided soundlessly through the stars. They restored forgotten relays, reignited dead stars, and repaired ancient anomalies no one understood. It was as though they were rebuilding something unseen, a map that extended beyond the known galaxy. Meanwhile, on the planet Orion, the Council convened an emergency. Arguments filled the chamber. Some demanded immediate contact. Others feared that these beings were not human at all, but something that had worn the name long ago. One ambassador, voice trembling, said what everyone feared to think aloud. "If this fleet truly belongs to humans, then what happened to them after they left? What kind of beings return after 1,000,000 years?" The answer came sooner than expected. A single ship detached from the ancient formation and entered Council space. It ignored all interdiction fields, slipping through like mist. It halted above the capital world, silent and immense. Its hull emitted no radiation, no energy signature. Then a voice filled every mind simultaneously, calm and human. "Do not be afraid. We remember you." Those words paralyzed entire worlds. It wasn't a transmission, it was telepathic, linguistic, and emotional all at once. Every translator confirmed it. The speaker wasn't communicating through devices, but directly through reality itself. The Council demanded answers. Who were they? Where had they gone? What had happened beyond the void? The voice replied gently as though speaking to children. "We were the first to walk among the stars. We sought the edge of creation. We found it, and we learned." The fleet projected a holographic display into the void, images of galaxies collapsing, dimensions folding upon themselves, civilizations rising and falling over epochs unseen. The humans had journeyed beyond the boundaries of space-time, beyond entropy itself. They had left the physical realm to study the architecture of existence. For 1,000,000 years they had watched creation unfold, learning the language of the universe, and now they had returned to restore what time had eroded. The council scientists were speechless. Every attempt to comprehend the data failed. The images showed technologies that operated on principles unknown, ships built from dark matter lattices, power sources drawn from gravitational singularities, constructs capable of rewriting physics. The humans had transcended mortality, yet they spoke with humility, as if they had not forgotten their origins. One council admiral, brave or foolish, asked why they had returned now. The answer chilled the room. Because time itself is breaking. According to them, the universe was nearing a temporal fracture, an echo of its own birth, looping backward through causality. The humans had seen it coming for eons, a slow unraveling of existence. They had returned not to conquer, but to stabilize reality before everything reset. The council tried to understand, but their instruments could not even detect the phenomenon the humans described. To most, it sounded like divine prophecy. Yet as weeks passed, strange anomalies began to occur. Stars flickered out of sequence. Planets repeated time loops. Quantum constants shifted slightly. Reality was warping, just as the humans had warned. The ancient fleet moved methodically, deploying massive constructs across galactic sectors, machines the size of moons that shimmered with fractal light. They called them anchors of continuity. Wherever they activated one, the distortion ceased. Civilizations nearby watched in awe as dying stars reignited and dead worlds bloomed again. Some began to worship them. Others grew afraid. The council struggled to maintain control. They sent fleets to observe the anchors, but their ships simply stopped when they got close. Entire crews reported feeling small, insignificant, as if standing before eternity itself. One pilot described it best. They don't use technology the way we do. They command the universe like an artist commands color. As time passed, fragments of the humans' past began to surface. They had left their homeworld long before the galaxy's first empires formed. Their civilization had achieved what others couldn't dream of: unified purpose, eternal curiosity, unending endurance. They had survived their sun's death, their world's decay, and the death of time itself. The council realized, too late, that they were not just dealing with an ancient race, they were dealing with the architects of everything that came after. But there was unease within the council. Some believed the humans' intentions were not as benevolent as they appeared. Others claimed that the anchors were reshaping space to their own design. One paranoid faction feared that the humans were preparing the galaxy as a cradle for something greater, something beyond them all. Their fears were confirmed when the humans transmitted a final declaration. The restoration is complete. The seal of origin must be reopened. Across the galaxy, the anchors activated simultaneously. Space shuddered. Time froze. For one eternal heartbeat, every being, every thought, every particle ceased to move. Then the stars sang. It wasn't sound, but vibration. A resonance that rippled through existence. Every species heard it in their minds, a melody older than creation itself. And in that moment, they understood what the humans had done. They had found the source, the primordial field from which all universes had emerged. They were not trying to save this galaxy. They were reigniting the foundation of reality. The seal of origin was the boundary between what was and what could be. And they were reopening it to ensure existence continued. The council's greatest minds pleaded for them to stop. They argued that such power could end everything instead of preserving it. But the humans responded with calm finality. You cannot destroy what we are restoring. You cannot end what has not yet begun. The final sequence initiated. The fleet's ships aligned in perfect formation, each one channeling energy beyond comprehension. Space glowed with cascading waves of light. Then, with a brilliance that blinded every sensor, the human fleet vanished, absorbed into the very fabric of the cosmos. For a moment, nothing remained. Then reality resumed. The stars burned brighter. The anomalies disappeared. Time stabilized, but the humans were gone once more. In the aftermath, the galaxy was left in stunned silence. The anchors remained orbiting in quiet harmony, their purpose fulfilled. Worlds rebuilt, scholars debated, philosophers wept. Every civilization recorded that day as the moment when humanity, long forgotten, long mythologized, returned not as conquerors but as custodians of creation. Centuries later, explorers would find inscriptions on one of the dormant anchors, simple words written in a language that even primitive scanners could read. We were never lost. We became the time that holds you. Those who read it understood then. Humanity had not merely survived, they had become part of the universe itself. Every heartbeat, every orbit, every law of physics carried a trace of their design. They had gone beyond gods, beyond legends, beyond identity. They were the whisper in the void, the thought behind existence. And as civilizations rose and fell, the stars continued to hum softly with that ancient melody, the song of a species that had learned the language of creation and used it not for power, but for purpose. Some said they would return again when the universe neared its next cycle. Others believed they had already returned, hidden within every atom, guiding every hand that reached for the stars. Either way, the galaxy would never forget. For on that day, the void itself had opened, and from its depths a million-year-old human fleet had emerged, silent, timeless, eternal. And in their wake, existence remembered its makers.